Fostering Media Connections publishes media and journalism to lead the conversation about child welfare, youth justice, and youth homelessness in America. These systems interact with millions of the nation's most vulnerable children and families every year. And research has shown that deep involvement with any of these systems connect to dismal outcomes in adulthood. And yet, they are often ignored by mainstream and local media outlets. Youth Voices Rising is a media training program for youth with lived experience in foster care, juvenile justice systems, and or homelessness. FMC launched the program in 2016 to help youth gain the skills and confidence they need to articulate the policy and practice changes needed to improve the system, because they are the experts on what solutions might work. Thank you for being here with us today, and happy Black History Month. My name is Ivory Bennett. I'm the program manager for Youth Voices Rising. I have 17 years of lived experience in foster care and a professional background in education, leadership, and national child welfare advocacy. Today, we are exploring the connections between love, safety, and survival for young people impacted by the child welfare system. Welcome to our first webinar of 2026, Love Shouldn't Hurt, where we embark on a journey of understanding, empathy, and empowerment. Through personal narratives and open dialogue, our diverse panel of individuals with lived child welfare experiences will shed light on how trauma, instability, and system involvement can shape beliefs about love and relationships. As we examine the complex ways survival needs become intertwined with intimacy and attachment, we aim to reduce stigma, increase awareness, and support healthier relationship outcomes. Together, let us center lived expertise, uplift healing, and work toward a child welfare landscape where love is rooted in safety, dignity, and emotional well being. I do have a trigger warning for you all today. Today's conversation is going to touch on experiences that can be tender, complex, and even potentially activating. We invite everyone to take care of themselves in whatever ways they may need, including stepping away from, grounding, or simply listening quietly. Uh, is anyone able to not hear me? I'm getting a few things in the chat that you might not be able to hear. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. For our panelists, please only share what feels safe and appropriate for you all. Your boundaries matter, and your lived experience is never owed in full detail. So share as much or as little as you'd like today. I'm so excited for y'all to be here, by the way. And welcome everyone to this transformative discussion today. Please feel free to leverage the chat. We're going to have questions and answers at the end of today's conversation, but you can drop them in and we'll try to get back to them to the best of our ability. So first things first, esteemed panelists, thank you so much for being here today. Can you briefly introduce yourselves to our audience? And I'm gonna hop over to Timothy, who is a new dad. Why don't you tell us who you are and why you're here today?
Hello, everyone. How's everybody doing? My name is Timothy Evans. I'm 46. And yes, I just became a new dad. I'm a father of 7. I just had twin baby girls. They're 1 month old right now. And I have a background in foster care, welfare, substance use, homelessness. Um, if you could think of it, I don't got experience in it. Today, I am a harm reduction specialist for services for the underserved, and I'm also the founder of an initiative called Rebuilding the Black Nuclear Family, also known as Bridge. I contract with the City of New York Administration for Children's Services, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Congrats on your new baby.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Sky, can you go next?
Yeah, of course. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Sky. I'm a former foster youth. I was placed in the system at age 16. I begged to be placed in the system. My family of origin was kind of a hellhole, a nightmare. I mean, all kinds of physical abuse, neglect, poverty, just so much trauma, sexual abuse, everything, you name it. So I fought to get into the foster care system, and I'm very fortunate that I had a very loving and supportive foster mother who helped me excel. I was not allowed to do a lot of things during my childhood, such as go to after school programs or attend field trips or do extracurricular activities. I wasn't giving any freedom. So when I got put in foster care, it enabled me to actually do those things and pursue higher education. So I do have my doctorate in marriage and family therapy. I am licensed. I have been licensed now for in October, it'll be my second year. I just got my license in 2020, the end of 2023. Or 2024, excuse me. So I do have a private practice. And I also have two poetry collections. I am also a creative writer. So the links are in the I'm sure Ivory or Abigail is able to put the links in the chat if you're interested in following me on social media or reading my poetry, or if you are looking for a therapist and you are in the state of California and I do take many insurances through Headway, Rula, and City Psychological. So if you are looking for a therapist, that is something that I can provide. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell, and I'm really happy to be here. It's such a pleasure and privilege. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Dr. Sky. And future Dr. Lucky Johnson, Lakivia, would you like to introduce yourself to us?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, my name is Lakivia Johnson. Some people call me Lucky. You can call me Lucky. I was in the foster care system for about 5 years in Georgia. I went in as a teenager. Now I am mom of two young adult daughters. Well, two, they're young adults, right? I am a certified project manager working full time as a programs and events manager. As Ivory just mentioned, I am a doctoral candidate, so hopefully I'll be graduating with my doctorate in strategic leadership. Thank you. In about a year or less. And then I am the founder of Freedom from Foster Care, which is a nonprofit organization with the mission to end generational foster care. It is new, we're launching, and I'm excited about it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And Miss Maida, would you like to tell us who you are?
Yes, I had a feeling he was calling me next. Hi everyone, my name is Maida Barrios. I was also in the foster care system for about 4 to 5 years. Very similar to Sky, I actually ran away from my mom's house and in a way kind of wanted to also be in the system because, just over time realized that what I was experiencing wasn't necessarily what I should have been experiencing from a family. And just like Sky, I'm so glad you had a positive experience because I did too. And I became an advocate to literally share that it's possible to have a good experience in foster care, to have good supportive foster parents, to have good independent living workers, social workers, CASA, judge, the whole nine. Me and my judge are like best friends to this day, just was with her last night. And so I think it's important to share the positive stories to show that, like, one, we can be successful with the right support, but also that foster care isn't bad, right? We were just handed different cards and we just need that extra TLC. But as far as my accolades and all that fun stuff, I do have two degrees. I have a bachelor's and master's in social work. Graduated in 2023. That feels so long ago. During my collegiate years, I was the former president of the Delaware's Youth Advisory Council, where I assisted with passing House Bill 123 in the state of Delaware, which allows former foster youth to attend college tuition free. That was huge for my state because we realized when we were 16, 17 that we had to make a decision on what college we wanted to go to depending on housing. And that wasn't fair to us because we shouldn't have to choose housing over education. And that's what it was at the time. So that was really fun. I currently mentor and am a peer advocate for teens in foster care. Like I said, I was actually with literally my judge last night. She's no longer my judge, but I was with her last night. We were at an event, actually at the Delaware Youth Advisory Council, representing for our teens and helping them navigate the tough waters of foster care. Currently in my 9 to 5 role, I am a foster parent licensing specialist. So really full circle moment. I actually license foster parents in the entire state of Delaware. So it's really nice to be able to kind of just share my story with my families and that I was in care and what my parents, my foster parents did for me, which is really important because if I had a good experience, then others can have that same experience. So it's really nice when they get to ask me questions about what worked for me. So that's really important to me. And then lastly, because I can go on and on, I'm also a business owner in Her Shoes LLC. So I do travel the United States, just sharing my story in different types of settings, keynote presentations, workshops, events like this. Just sharing that if we can make it together, anyone can make it. So it's really important for us to continue to have this foster care community because with it, we can really like reach the sky. So yeah.
Thank you. Look, I'm so proud of y'all. Like, oh my goodness. I really am super excited to get started. And we haven't even gotten started, really, for real. Liza, are you able to tell us a little bit about who you are and why you're here today?
Yeah, sure. Hi. Wait, let me put my camera on. Sorry. I didn't know how to do this. Mm, sorry. Um, oh, hello, you guys. My name is Liza. I'm 29 years old. I was not in the foster care system, but I was in group homes most of my life from 9 to 18. Yeah. So I'm a home health aide. I take care of elderly people. Um, yeah, I have two daughters. That's it. I don't know what else to say.
It was perfect. Thank you so much for being here today. Mr. Armstrong, are you calling from Brazil today?
You gotta do this every time, huh? Yes, I'm in Brazil. Hey everybody, my name is Sensei Dave Armstrong. I think I'm the old head here. I'm turning 52 in a couple of weeks. I'm a retired 24-year U.S. Air Force vet, CEO of Unlimited Potential Network, founder of Inspire to Aspire Youth Advocacy, where we work with youth that are in juvenile detention centers. And yeah, I'm in Greece. I live in Greece. I'm in Brazil, but life certainly didn't start out like this for me. I was arrested when I was 11 and a half years old for felony armed robbery. And so that was the first 2 year stint that I did in juvenile detention. And while I was in detention, my mom died when I was about 12 and a half. And that was my only family member. I grew up beaten. She was unfortunately a drunk and married a guy that liked to abuse her and myself. And so now I get to go around to corporations. I do corporate leadership. I also go and inspire and share my story of perseverance, of determination, of discipline, and of accountability. And so that's what you're probably going to hear a lot out of me today. Uh, and I'm probably going to be the edgy one because I really believe in accountability. We can't lean on our past forever. So yeah, I grew up in the foster care system, juvenile detention system, until I turned 18, where I was homeless. And after I was homeless, I said, hey, you know what? I got to do something with my life. And so that's when I joined the Air Force. And even that was a struggle. So I'm glad to be here with such amazing people. This panel is, oh, just wow. I love all of you.
I do want to confirm you're the oldest here today. Okay, so just so we're clear about that. Uh,
Yeah, thanks. Thanks. You're such an inspiration. Thank you, Ivory. I appreciate that.
But you
no,
don't
I mean,
Whatever it is.
age, so that's
listen,
good. That's
that's
good.
great. We need elders. We need your perspective from a different generation. I'm gonna stop messing with you, David. Okay,
My my
next.
niece.
Next, Brittany, I'm so excited to hear what wisdom you're going to share with us today. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are?
Hi, thank you, Ivory. I appreciate this opportunity as always. Good morning, all. My name is Brittany Lee. I'm a professional child welfare consultant with lived expertise. I was in the foster care systems here in Washington State, a little bit over 17 years, a little bit over 17 placements. And I just, around 17, coincidentally, I decided I wanted to be an advocate. Excuse me. And I have been since. So just consistently involving myself in policy writing, DEI and belonging work, child welfare, and family betterment in general. I'm very passionate about like the intersections of like child welfare, race, gender, class, and labor. So my degree is in ethnic gender and labor studies. I am, yeah, consultant, always ready to take a contract and work with someone in order to like advance a mission and to like move stagnancy in a system that's very stagnant and tends to like kind of rot when it sits still too long. So I love to keep things moving in the system. So however I could do that, gonna drop my info in the chat. But yes, it's really nice to meet you and always such an honor to be speaking alongside so many amazing other former foster youth. I appreciate you guys' time, or not just foster youth, but just systems involved people. So I appreciate you guys and your hearts. Thank you for your work.
Thank you, Brittany. Okay, we have two more before we get to our questions, okay? So, Jessica, would you like to share with us a little bit about who you are?
Hi, I'm Jessica. My internet connection's a little wonky, so I hope I don't break up when I talk. I'm sorry if I do. Um, a little about me. I am a former foster youth and I have experience in the juvenile justice system and also with homelessness and domestic violence and a whole surplus of a whole cocktail of trauma, if you will. Um, I am on the Los Angeles Youth Commission. I am a commissioner representing District 3. Um, and it's very exciting. I'm also a part of the Los Angeles chapter of the National Foster Youth Institute. And I work as a teen mentor for Oppa Health. Um, I've been writing for Fostering Media Connections for a, a long time. It's I think since 2021 at least or 2020. Um, and I am just so honored to be here and spaces that have been created. It's just so wonderful. Um, I also own a tattoo shop that highlights female and queer artists in North Hollywood. It's called Rosebud's Body Art. Um, and I have written two memoirs. My first memoir is Trash Bag of Memories, which is my kind of recounting my experience in foster care and with a failed adoption and things like that. And then I just published Happily Ever After Foster Care, which goes over my experiences as a transition aged youth. And that's something I'm really advocating for right now is youth, older youth that are system impacted. Um, so yeah, that's me.
Thank you, Jessica. Okay, I misspoke. Two more. So, Miss Amaya, can you tell us a little bit about who you are?
Yes, hello everyone. So good to see some familiar faces. Nice to meet everybody else. My name is Maya Sands. I kind of have done it all, but I settled and decided that behavioral therapy is my sweet spot. So I am a behavioral therapist. I am also the founder of Colorscape, which is an organization that works with kids with autism and their families to create sensory friendly and creative spaces for them. Um, I bring both professional training and 8.5 years of lived experience connected to foster care and just youth navigating instability. I feel like that perspective shapes how I approach behavior with like compassion, structure, and deep understanding. Um, I'm very happy to be here with you guys and grateful to share stories and space and conversation.
And we're excited you're here too. And then last but not least, Khadijah, are you able to share with us a little bit about who you are?
I'm sorry, that's my guest I invited, but I gave them the my link in on accident instead of my registration link or the
Okay, I
registration.
knew I wasn't crazy. So thank you for
Sorry
clarifying
about
that.
that.
Well, on that note, let's go ahead and get started with our questions because I feel like we're gonna run out of time. We got a lot of great opinions here today. So, what were your early beliefs about love and safety, and how did your child welfare experiences shape those beliefs? And I want to preface this conversation is so essential, and it's something that I think about every single day as someone who spent 17 years in foster care. And now that I am in a different phase of life, now that I am an elder, I'm joining you, David. It is really clear to me how my lived experience informs not only my romantic relationships, but all of my relationships and all of the love that I experience. So that is why we're here today. And that is where these questions are coming from. I'll reiterate them again for our guest. So, what were your early beliefs about love and safety, and how did your child welfare experience shape those beliefs?
I I would love to take this first because this is exactly why I came on today. I saw this question and I thought, wow. I'm not sure that a lot of people understand how impactful these first experiences of being taken away from your family can be, and how lasting they can be, and how they can make you distrust not the system, but people. The system isn't tangible. People in the system are tangible. And so being kicked out from group home, being kicked out from foster homes, being kicked out of different placements throughout my, you know, from 12 to 18, um, really did shape a lot. And it was distrust in people. And so if you don't trust people, how can you open up in a partnership, in a relationship? If you don't trust your environment, how can you open up to even your neighbors or the people down the street? You're always with a wall. And I was very defensive. I remember looking back and it was like I constantly had a wall up. And it was like, well, yeah, of course. If if as a child I was thrown from one place to another and abandoned and just like I remember coming back to a group home and my stuff was already bagged, not boxed, thrown in a trash bag. I came back and they were like, "Hey, yeah, your social worker's here. We're gonna take you to another place." How in the world can someone, any of, and I think most of us, experience this? How can we ever trust? What does that even look like when we've never been taught trust? We've been taught put a shield up, make sure you protect your heart, make sure you protect your soul, make sure you protect yourself. Because if you don't, guess what? You're going to be sitting under a bridge like I did, trying to kill myself. So this inspired me to come on, and I'm interested in everyone else's experience.
Thank you, David. That's powerful. I think, Jessica, you had your hand raised first.
Yeah, I this was a question that I was really interested in too. Um, I just wanted to share a little bit about my experience. I know when I was little, protection is what felt like love to me. So I was always drawn to any adults that showed me any sort of care to their annoyance. I used to just like a puppy following around. I'd be like, "Oh, you like me? Can I hang out with you?" I'd be like the 7-year old talking to your friend out with you because protection and safety is what felt like love to me, and I craved that so much. And um surprise, as soon as I exited foster care, I entered into a 7-year domestic violence marriage because I thought, marriage, that's safety, that's security, that, it doesn't matter who it's with. It doesn't matter if I have romantic feelings, it doesn't matter. Like, I had the skewed vision of it because of my experiences with my family, because of my experiences with foster care and everything like this. And it was a really long 7 years, and it ended with YWCA, actually the domestic violence shelter, really helping me through that. And it I want to share with caregivers and social workers and therapists, you know, teach your young people about healthy boundaries, teach your young people about what a healthy relationship looks like. Don't just wait for the people in their lives to model that, because the models that they have could be very different than what they deserve, yeah, I want to leave time for others to answer the question as well, but I just wanted to share that.
Thank you so much, Jessica. And that just reminds me too. I mean, I had so many inspirations for this webinar, but one of the things is for many of us, romantic love is the first time we get to choose who we bring into our life and who we love. And I think that's another reason why this conversation is so complex, because if you see someone who has lived experience in an unhealthy relationship and you wonder why don't they just leave, it's because it's their first choice of love. It's the first time they get to invite someone into them and to share that themselves in that way. And it's not always easy to let that go when you come from these circumstances. So I believe Maida was next, and then Timothy, and then Amaya.
No, I think they were before me, so I put my hand up last.
Okay,
It's okay.
so
Go ahead. I think
Amaya.
Amaya was next. Yeah.
Okay. Just gonna read the question again really fast. So for me, early beliefs of love, it was kind of very tangible and but it was easy to be taken away. I received in my home with my biological parents, love that was contingent based on how you acted. So you got good, what is the word that I'm looking for? You received positive, reinforcement when you did something good, but when it went bad, it went really bad. So I always say, like, my parents are not role models for me. And if they are, they're role models in a way of what not to be like. But oddly enough, every place that I searched for love, I was searching for people that were like them, not realizing it was completely subconscious. Like, but for me, love was staying through the hard parts. And love was looking past people's flaws because, I'm flawed and the people that I came from are flawed. So that doesn't mean that you don't deserve love. For me, I feel like I kind of just have overstayed in many relationships, trying to think that I can love them whole. I attracted a lot of broken people in the past. And I know that that has to do with the fact of me trying to love my parents in a way of which I hope that they would, in return, love me the way that I need to be loved. Um, but yeah, let me just look at the question one more time. I always do this. How did your but yeah, so now obviously this is, Ivory, but I actually just got out of a really tumultuous relationship maybe a month ago. And so I'm still learning. I'm 26 this year, and I've realized, like, I give people sometimes too much grace because I know that there are people that deserve that. I just have to listen to my discernment and know who those people are. But yeah, I'm gonna let other people talk because a lot of hands shot up.
Oh my goodness, so many thoughts. We're not going to get through all these questions, but you know what? Even if we're just on this one question, it has been a beautiful conversation so far. I think, Timothy, you are next, and then Maida. Okay.
All right. So when I think about love and safety, early on, I'm not sure if I understood what that was because, my father went to prison when I was very young, so I didn't receive that love from a father. As far as my mom, I almost felt conditional and somewhat unsafe because, her as a single mother, it was rough growing up under her, leadership because, she was by herself taking on six children and, she couldn't be feminine. So, you know, I know I just think that it felt conditional, now that I look back on it.
Thank you so much for sharing. Maida, and then after that, I don't know who was going, but y'all can unmute. Okay.
It shows it in order on the screen, so just follow the screen.
You learn something new
Um,
every day. Thank you so much.
yes, yes, it goes in order. It got you. I kind of want to share from like my actual early beliefs, like prior to entering the foster care system. I came in the system at 15, so growing up, all I saw was a very toxic Hispanic household relationship. And if you know anything about Hispanics, they have a way where like they have this thing where they feel as though they have to stay with one person regardless of how bad it gets. And it's a generational cycle, like even in my own family and in other Hispanic families, that is sometimes very hard to let go of, because I've seen my own siblings do it where it's like, oh, well, this is the person I've been with since I was 15. Like, there's no one else, right? And so I kind of grew up with that kind of same idea. And all I saw was my mother with very toxic male figures, right? Um, I didn't grow up with my dad because he was in Puerto Rico, and I grew up with my siblings' fathers who did a lot of stuff that they weren't supposed to our family. And so a lot of times, like, it was this constant battle of like, what is love supposed to be? What is a relationship supposed to be? What is a marriage supposed to be? Because I never saw that healthy side. I always saw yelling and fighting and arguing and calling the cops on each other and this and that and abusive, right? Like an abusive relationship. And so it wasn't until actually that I came into care. And like I mentioned earlier, I did thankfully have a very positive experience. And I think it's important for us to reshape foster care because it needs to be positive, right? And so when I came into the system, my first set of foster parents were in a healthy relationship for like a godly relationship, right? Like very much like faith-based, like, no arguing, no fighting, no hitting, none of that existed in the home, right? And so it was very, very healthy. They were married, I think, for like 20 plus years, like, but it was healthy. Like it wasn't 20 years of toxicity, right? And so then I think seeing that for like 2 to 3 years, I was like, okay, I can be loved properly. Like it doesn't have to be abusive. It doesn't have to be the hitting and the yelling and the calling the cops and everyone getting involved, right? It doesn't have to be all of that, right? And so thankfully, like I think I really at a young age at like 15, 16 was able to kind of like grasp that early on enough where like not saying that it didn't impact me and like my future like relationships and all that, because obviously I think there's always going to be some sort of impact. But I think for the most part, it allowed me to see how I would like to be treated and like those aspects of like a relationship because I'm not just going to settle. And I've been very firm on that. Like I'm still not in a relationship to this day because I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want that, right? Because like I know what I want and what I don't want because I've seen it and I've experienced it. So yeah, I kind of want to share from that perspective.
Maida, oh my goodness, so many thoughts. The first is that I think I was only in one of about 12 homes that actually had a married couple. And so I didn't even get the chance to grow up and see marriage modeled in any capacity. But then the other thing is culture and how we can normalize or dismiss toxicity as passion, as just that's just what we do. That's just how we are. That's just how it is. And that's why it's so important to teach those with lived experience in the child welfare system emotional intelligence and relational intelligence. And so, what does that look like? How do you identify the healthy and the unhealthy? And also giving them the skills to utilize that for their best abilities, and also giving them grace when they're learning how to navigate those things, because that takes time and practice and modeling too. Liza, you are next. Please share with us.
I think for a very long time, I wasn't quite sure what love was until the age of 19 when I met my late husband. He passed away. But growing up, I grew up in a very toxic household. My mom had a children of six. She was very masculine and abusive. So she used to always say, like, one time I went to school and I came with mad bruises on and they call ACS, and she would always prep us what to say so we won't get taken by ACS, and like, oh, do this, say this. Like, so with her, it was like, it was either she was very overprotective of us, but she was very abusive. So it was very confusing. So with me, it was just like I didn't trust nobody. It was not easy for me to trust until I went to the group home, and I still didn't trust. I felt always abandoned. Like I would go to this group home and then have to leave and then go to another group home and then here and here. So it was like always moving around. So I held that inside because I was so scared to, I was raised on not expressing my emotions. So I was so scared to express my emotions. Sorry. I was so scared to express my emotions. So I kind of like held that in, and that kind of built up some anger until I met my husband at 18. And he kind of saw through that. And he was just like not trying to like see me as the angry person. He was more so like showing me. So I guess I felt like love was somebody showing you better than telling you, like, or you get what I'm saying? So, and then I felt more safe in life and in my environment. And after he passed away, I didn't have that safety net. I didn't have that. So it took me to love myself. Like now I found out love is within, and everybody just adds on to the love you have for yourself. So it took for him to be away, for me to feel alone in this world, to be like, you know what, heal my inner trauma, heal that little girl that was kind of broken and build that up. And now I'm here. And I still do believe love is proven. You got to prove to somebody that, you love them. Accountability, um, constant reassurance, or constant, like, and I also feel like even when you love somebody, have your own identity. Most definitely, I feel like it's very important to have your own identity in any relationships, because if not, you'll be stuck and your relationship will just be based on this. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that I would say that myself.
Thank you, Liza. I
I'm
appreciate
sorry,
that.
nervous, so that's why I'm kind of like.
You're in safe hands. Listen, just relax and ease into it. And I'm hearing a few themes that I want to highlight for the audience. Are you hearing that people are getting married young? Do, are you hearing that? There, a lot of people here have been married as teenagers. That's a very young age to get married. Are you hearing the mother wounds and the father wounds that are coming up? Are you hearing the need for consideration and to be seen and to be heard? So this thing is layered, it's nuanced and it's complex, but it's absolutely also tied to why people end up in child welfare and how they experience the child welfare system too. Dr. Sky, I cannot wait to hear what you're going to share with us. Please go ahead and share.
Oh, well, thank you, Ivory. You're such a sweetheart. Yeah, I relate to a lot of what everyone has already said. And I'll just add that for me, my earliest beliefs of love and safety, what they were, in my childhood, there was no such thing as love and safety. I didn't know what those things were. My biological mother, I refer to her as my egg donor. I don't give her the power of calling her a mother because she wasn't a mother. She's a malignant narcissist and a very mentally unwell person who refuses to get any physical or psychiatric help or care. She never took accountability for any of her actions. She never apologized for anything. She said, I made it all up. I mean, it's one minute she'd say I love you, and the next minute I get slapped in the face. And then she'd want a hug after slapping me in the face. So going to school, I was bullied, and going home, I was abused and neglected. So I was suicidal as early as the age of 9 years old. So I can relate to what David shared earlier. I felt completely unloved, completely unwanted. It felt like there was no safety in my life. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know who to turn to. I just felt like I was in hell or in prison. It just felt like there was no escape. School is horrible. Everyone is rude and mean to me. Home is horrible. People abuse me and hit me and yell at me and scream at me, and I'm not allowed to leave the house or go anywhere. I'm not allowed to really maintain friendships. So I was going through so much as a teenager, dealing with complex PTSD, which was diagnosed when I got put in foster care at the age of 16. So I was so grateful to be diagnosed and to get a therapist, someone who actually cared enough to listen to me and gave me the language necessary to verbalize the struggles that I went through, to understand the abuse, understand the neglect, understand the trauma and how it impacted me. And my foster mother is a saint. She's an amazing person. She was in foster care herself. She was in 4 homes. A few of them were quite horrid and traumatic for her, but the last one was actually incredibly supportive, and that inspired her to become a foster parent. And so she was a foster parent, I think, for 30 years, and she fostered, I think, over 50 of us. Those numbers are not completely accurate. I think it's actually more than that. But she showed me unconditional love. I could make mistakes. I could spill juice on the floor without getting slapped in the face. I could go to an after school program. I could go on a field trip. I could go to UCLA and take a summer program and then get accepted on a $20,000 scholarship. So she opened doors for me. And so that showed me what love was, but it took years. I had so much self-hatred and I felt so unwanted, and I constantly my first poetry collection is a lot about unrequited love. I constantly was falling in and out of love with people, desperate for affection, desperate for attention, never receiving it, always chasing emotionally unavailable people, always chasing people that were not interested in me, that were not kind to me. It took therapy. It took 13 years of therapy. It took my foster mom, and it took I was close to my father. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2024. But my dad was in and out of the picture. He was unhoused for a lot of my childhood, or in jail, or in rehabilitation centers. So, but he was loving. He was very supportive, but he could not house me. He could not father me. He could not care for me. Unfortunately, he was not able to. He was a developmentally disabled man, and so he was just dealing with a lot of his own issues, so he could not care for me, unfortunately. But he showed me love. My teachers in school believed in me. They saw how smart I was. They saw how dedicated I was. They saw my talent. They supported it. They nurtured it. It really does take a village. And so I'm grateful for foster care. I'm grateful for therapy. I'm grateful for education. I'm grateful for all those things that showed me what love was, because my family of origin did not.
Dr. Sky, thank you so much. And let me just again reiterate to the audience, this is not specific to just child welfare experience. How many of you in the audience who have never been in child welfare can relate to these experiences? Y'all have chosen unhealthy love. Y'all have chosen emotionally unavailable people. You have entered into marriages for many reasons outside of healthy love. And so, again, this is an opportunity to be able to connect with people with lived experience and say, hey, maybe I don't have all the answers either, but we can learn together. And what programming can you bring into your organization to help facilitate that? How can you model that to those who are around you? This is not just a child welfare issue or a people with lived experience issue. This is a societal and cultural issue, and we're just highlighting it through the lens of our lived experience. Brittany, please bless us with something. I know you got something beautiful to say.
Thank you. I really appreciate you. Thank you, everyone, for what you've shared so far. I really appreciate the theme so far. But yeah, I would say for me, um, on the theme of like how foster care sets you up for, yeah, these future relationships, a huge, like, there was so many strong foundations for me having future abusive relationships. And I feel lucky that I just had what I had, and now I have like the most loving relationship ever. But in my early, so entering foster care at 2 years old, those are the most formative years. So like, I didn't learn how to say no. I was never involved in my entire childhood of in foster care, in the decision making of when I'd be moving, how I'd be moving, who I'd be moving with. And even then, amongst once you're in the homes, like not only is this a new bed, a new room, a new smell, a new culture, a new diet. Like everything changes physically in a new space, a new city, like everything, it's so many shifts. And then on top of that, there's so many no's in the space. So it's just constantly setting you up for a future where you think like there's this illusion of lack of choice. There's this illusion of scarcity. And so I would say like my earliest things I learned too was that it was safe to fawn, it was safe to freeze. I didn't have like an option of choice or voice. Those things are all so dangerous when you are young, black, and a woman and you're aging into adulthood. So like the main beliefs I would say too that um were drilled into me was that like love was conditional and a foster home was the only place I could find it. So like this desperation of like I was really afraid of the concept of a group home. I was really afraid of like being separated from my sibling. I was afraid of just so many unknowns. So there's again that aspect of like fawning and freezing in a foster home because you, especially with a narcissistic foster mom, and I had that for 12 years of my 17 years. So from 4 to 16, I was in a home where it was very emotionally and mentally abusive, physically abusive as well, all through the hands of my foster mom. And her husband was like super apathetic and just kind of like in the background and doing whatever she says. So the ways that I found like the messages of like love being conditional was confirmed through the way that they would deny any extracurricular activities, like any kind of sport, band, anything that cost too much, even though they got money for me, was denied. And I find growing up talking to peers who were in things like that and how strongly it was like, I found friends in that space. I found some camaraderie in that space, some safety in the sometimes hellscape of colonial public schools and especially predominantly white, colonial public schools. And so, like those extracurriculars being denied, like I lost connections with peers. They also would deny and discourage strong sibling bonds in the home. There was so much mental and verbal attempts to cause a rift between me and the only sibling I had, the only family I had throughout most of my childhood. So even in the home, not even being able to rely because there was seeds of like, why aren't you like your brother? Why aren't you like your sister being, embedded? And then on top of that, denying social connections, like in general, never having a sleepover until I was like 16, never even having a friend in the house, never getting to go to a friend's house, like completely being isolated in the foster home that I, again, didn't choose really sets you up for like I said in the future just like I don't have choice. And if I'm getting an inkling of kindness, an inkling of joy, I should just settle there because where else am I going to get it? Um, and it really like is in the mindset of like in the future when you leave these systems, you have to remind yourself I'm out. I am free. I have choice. Like constantly like unlearning that. And I would say the last way was like learning, growing up, meeting birth family and learning that, excuse me, I was minutes away from aunts and uncles, cousins my entire life. When I met aunts and stuff through my dad's side of the family when I was 18, I would name where I was, like when I was placed in different homes throughout the years, and they'd be like, no way, we were literally down the street. And so also the lack of choice that the state was responsible for in failing to connect me to multiple kinship options, even if through visits, if not being placed with them. So yeah, I would just say that connects to a lot of the themes people have named, like, and the deep harm that family policing and separation can cause, like that, those long-term, lifelong effects sometimes. Yeah.
And something you just said, Brittany, reminded me too. This is also another reason why a lot of those with lived experience will have children very young because they're like, I don't have my family. I can't necessarily control getting married right now, but I can have a baby who's going to love me and who's not going to leave me and who's going to need me. And so these things are super interconnected. I'm here to try to help paint the pieces for you all who don't have that lived experience. We are almost out of time. Like, can y'all believe it? Goodness gracious. I'm going to need y'all to write some op-eds for us so we can further explore this. I'm going to need y'all to come on the podcast and talk about this on all of your individual stories. I'll get to you in just a second, David. I want to introduce our last two questions. I'm just going to kind of put those out there and then we'll wrap up before we get into some Q&A. If we do go over, that is okay for those of you who can stay. And I know some of you have to leave at the top of the hour. That is okay too. So what signs of healthy love and boundaries did you learn later in life? Who or what helped? And then lastly, do you have any advice for those who are going through foster care or the child welfare system about protecting their well-being? And go ahead, take it away, David.
So listening to everyone speak actually has me pretty emotional. And it has me emotional because I'm thinking about like the 20,000 plus youth that are going to exit, emancipate from the system this year. And I think about an analogy. Has anyone ever had a goldfish, in a little bowl? And then you see the same species of fish, the same goldfish. There's no biological difference in a pond. And that goldfish in the pond is so huge, but that goldfish in the bowl is so little. Have you ever thought about why? And the reason is you're going to grow to your environment. And I think about the limitations that all of our youth have, all of us had, that confined space that will restrict our greatness, that will restrict our growth, that will never promote anything other than mediocrity in our lives because we just can't get out of that damn space. We just can't grow out of that space. And the luckiest thing, the best thing that happened to me was getting out of Los Angeles, getting out of the gangs, joining the Air Force, having a couple of mentors that inspired me to get out of that space. And I don't know who's going to hear this. I don't know why this was so emotional for me and just needed to be said, but someone has to get out of the space. Someone watching this that knows someone that just needs to hear that you just get out of your space. You're only going to grow to the limitations around you. If you're confined in a box, in a cage, that's it. We have to get out of our space. I don't know who that resonates with, but somebody needed to hear that.
Preach, David. Preach. Amaya, would you like to go next?
Okay. um, so for me, I would say what signs of healthy love and boundaries did you learn? So I learned that just in general, boundaries are okay. Um, I my thought was a little skewed prior to a couple years ago where I thought boundaries were for the other person until I realized boundaries are for myself. The things that I will allow, the things that I will not allow, and basically like a little bit of a guidebook on how to deal with me. That being said, I'm going to go back to what I was saying a little bit before. I didn't mention the fact that with the transactional and opportunistic love that I received from my parents, it caused such an anxious attachment style within myself where it's like every slight, I can pick up on any slight change in energy, emotion, tone. And it's like I'm looking for the next time where something may possibly go wrong. And then I'm thinking of every solution on how to fix that. So now I've realized someone else said it too. I don't want to mistake it, but I know that someone else said it. Love comes from within. And if you are loving yourself and pouring into yourself wholeheartedly, the people that are around you have no choice but to do that because you set that standard. And that is something that I've learned recently. I also learned that communication is supposed to be soft. And now I don't want to misconstrue with the fact that love is not hard work, because that I know it is. And you are going to argue with the partner. You are going to disagree. And, your partner may hurt you and you may hurt your partner because at the end of the day, we're all human. But the way that you move forward is what really counts. Like, for example, when my mom used to put her hands on us and like it get really bad, she'd keep us home from school for a couple days so the bruises can go away. And then now she's taking us out for our favorite meal or buying us the newest iPhone that came out or something just to try to, turn that around. Um, in my relationships and in love, that is not enough. Like, you need changed behavior. You need effective communication, calm communication. We don't need to yell at each other. We don't need to curse. I actually have a mouth of a sailor, so I do, but we're not cursing at each other. You understand? Like, there's a common ground of respect and basic human decency just because we deserve that as humans. Um, Love can hurt, but you should be able to also turn to your person during that time of hurt and them embrace you and give you what you need. Effort is a big thing, and it's like not just when they mess up, but always. And then understanding your triggers in itself, because another thing that people realize, or don't realize, myself included up until my most recent relationship, just because you think you've healed doesn't mean that something won't trigger you. It will still trigger you. You just need to know how to move with that so it doesn't show up in a negative way. And you communicate that with your partners so that they understand and they can give you the reassurance that you need in that moment, or move around in a different way to where they don't have to trigger you. Um, that's what I have to say about that question. I'm just gonna look at the other question real quick and then I'll let everybody else go. Um, what advice would you give young people? I would say stay true to yourself. And for me, it was kind of hard to figure out what thoughts and what ideas were mine and not mine. Writing helped a lot. I believe the way that I speak and the way that I write came from, not having the voice that I should have been able to have as a kid. um, Find somebody that you feel safe with and comfortable with and talk to them, maybe somebody older, someone you want to be like, so you can have that type of mentor mentee relationship, and just healthy people to hold your hand, because we all need that village. It doesn't matter how old you get. But yeah, those are my answers.
Thank you, Amaya. I want to give space for Lakivia really quickly. She has a hard stop in about 5 minutes. So, Lakivia, please share with us what you wanted to comment.
Yes, hi. Thank you, Ivory. I honestly am still learning what love is. I'm 39 years old. I have two daughters. The relationship with them, as I mentioned, they're young adults. The relationship with them is, growing and here or there, right? They're young adults. They're trying to figure out who they are. I think learning about love is a journey that all of us or everyone will continue to experience and explore for their entire lives. I attended this book club with Movement for Family Power, and that's where we read All About Love by Bell Hooks. I posted that in the chat. That book was really, really great. And I love how she references all these other authors because she explores love. And so all of these other authors who really look into that, it is a very good book, Amaya. I learned a lot just reading that. And I would say for people who are exiting the foster care system or who are in the foster care system now who really want to protect their well being, the first thing to do is to trust your intuition. If something doesn't feel right, if you feel uncomfortable, like if you have questions about something, ask those questions, trust your gut, trust your intuition, because at the end of the day, it really is about you, right? And how you're feeling. And so before you can love other people, you have to really love yourself. And that's how you do that. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Lakivia. I want to highlight something for those of our little cousins who have lived experience. They're either in it or will be exiting it soon. The voice of your spirit, of your soul, of your intuition, of love is going to be quiet and calm. It's not going to scream at you. It's not going to make you feel anxious or nervous. It's not going to be very quick in how it messages you. It will be quiet and it will be calm. And I guarantee you, every relationship I've been in that came to an end, I knew it was going to end before it ended. I just didn't want to realize it or accept it. But that calm, quiet intuition let me know. Brittany, go ahead and share with us.
I wanted to jump to the last question, if that's okay, but I just wanted to share my advice for exiting foster care, or people who are still in or exiting foster care, or even anybody who can take something from what I'll say. But I just wanted to say that you guys deserve comfort, you deserve safety, regardless of who stays or leaves. There's some tactics I've done with my therapist that I really appreciate, where she has me dig out what is the negative belief, what is the belief about an event or a time or a trauma in general, and then like flip it, like what's the opposite. And another one that I came up with was like, I will always and easily find someone who can and will love me better. Always and easily, like emphasis on that. And then again, yeah, just you deserve comfort and safety regardless of who stays or leaves. You are free of the burden and the weight and the labor and the energy that people refuse to do. You're more than what they lack and what they can't give you. And when you're out of foster care or out of the system, like I said earlier, remind yourself often that you are free, you deserve safe connections, you have all the right in the world to decide who has access to you and who doesn't. And you are always more, always going to be more than the learned coping mechanisms that you had to develop to survive. And remember that you can set them down when you leave the system. If you don't need the tools that you learned to survive anymore, you are allowed to put them down. You are infinitely more as well than the hardest things that you've been through. So I just wanted to share that as well and just affirm you guys. And thank you all again for sharing so much.
Thank you. All right, Timothy. And then we're going to do Dr. Sky, and then we're going to do Liza and up for some questions.
Okay, so what I've learned about healthy love and boundaries later on in life is that healthy is mutual respect, it's clear communication, consistent support. Um, and as far as the youth that are in foster care and aging out, I work with them very closely. And what I usually tell them is that, you need to prioritize your safety and well being, and trust your instincts. Seek mentors, seek safe communities to go to, right? And also have healthy boundaries. And I just wanted to say that this webinar was great. Thank you for inviting me and everyone here. Thank you.
Thank you, Timothy. Dr. Sky.
Yes. Again, I resonate with so much of what's already been said, so I'll try not to be too repetitive. But um, I mean, early childhood experiences really do shape the relationships you have in later life, but that doesn't mean that you're doomed to repeat the past. You're not doomed to completely ignore history and constantly redundantly find yourself in these miserable relationships. You can learn how to have secure attachment. You can learn how to have healthy connections. And so for me, my biggest advice, because I'm going to try to answer both of the questions together, my biggest advice to anyone exiting the foster care system, any youth that are impacted by the system, go to therapy. Yes, I am biased because I'm a therapist, but I'm a therapist because I went to therapy. I was in therapy for on and off for 13 years, and that was really what taught me what love was. And it also taught me what unhealthy love looked like, what toxicity looked like, what abuse and neglect and trauma looked like. I mean, I dated people that were so all over the place, very emotionally unavailable, cold, not affectionate. My one of my exes, I'll try not to get into a long story, but one of my exes was so cold and kind of disturbing that he was contacted by the FBI because he posted a horror story on Reddit anonymously that they wanted to investigate because it was so graphic about a detailed, gruesome murder that they thought that he would have information about what happened. They thought it was a real event that occurred, and he had to prove to them that it was fiction. Who knows to this day if it was really fiction? I don't know. He could be a serial killer. I don't know, but that's the kind of people I was dating. My most recent relationship, not my current relationship, but my most recent one, such a narcissistic person who had literally all of the worst qualities of both my egg donor and my father. Had all of the attention deficits, the cognitive impairments, the developmental disabilities that my father struggled with, on top of the narcissism and the aggression and abuse and disrespect that my egg donor had. And so I literally found one person who embodied the worst traits of both of my parents. And that relationship was a nightmare. It was incredibly traumatic. My boundaries were constantly crossed. And it was my therapist who told me, he seems like a narcissist, you should get out of there. And I couldn't leave the relationship. I used to judge people that were in intimate partner violent relationships, domestic violent relationships. I used to judge people like, why do you stay? Why can't you leave? I was on a lease with him. I would be homeless if I left. So I could not leave. I had to physically stay with him and wait for him to move out. But one of my favorite quotes that I read during that time, this is by Jane Elizabeth. I would rather adjust my life to your absence than adjust my boundaries to accommodate your disrespect. And I texted that to him, and my therapist completely supported me. I stopped talking to him for 2 months. I lived under the same roof as him and did not utter a single word to him out loud. I texted him asking for the rent money and it told him there was food in the fridge. Other than that, I did not speak to him for 2 months. And that is my greatest achievement in life. It's not getting a doctorate. It's not getting into foster care. It's not getting scholarships. It's the fact that I lived with a narcissist and did not speak to him for 2 months because every conversation became an argument. There was no peace. There was no safety. There was no sanity. So I just completely cut off, and I asserted firm boundaries, and a lot of my friends call me the queen of boundaries. So that's my advice, is go to therapy, assert boundaries, and like everyone else here said, love yourself, because it really is incredibly difficult to do anything in this world. I think Lucille Ball said that it's really hard to get anything done in this world if you don't love yourself first. So those are my thoughts. Hope I
Wow.
wasn't too long-winded, but thank you.
No, Dr. Sky, thank you so much for sharing. First and foremost, I want to hear more about this story if you want to share it. So, like, we need to continue this conversation in a lot of different ways. A few things I want to highlight for the audience before we go to Liza and then try to get into some questions for a few minutes. The first is I really want to take a moment to hold space for those of us who have lived child welfare experience who are no longer here because they are victims of unhealthy, toxic relationships and love. There are a lot of people who lose their lives to love and unhealthy love and remaining in situations that are unsafe. And so I want to hold space for them. We honor them. We want to be and do different because of them. And that not only includes for ourselves who are here, who are a little bit older, but for helping those who are in care right now and those who will become a part of the system in the future. The second thing is what you don't address will come out in your romantic relationships. And so if you have unhealthy relationships with your mom and your dad or whoever represents that in your life, you will end up dating them in one way or another. And that is inevitable and that is not desirable, but it often does happen. And so, again, it's just super important to do healing work in whatever capacities feel right and feel supportive and natural for you. And thirdly, my goodness, I wish I could sit and talk with y'all for hours and hours and hours, but we can't. So, okay, Liza, please go ahead and share what you have to say, and then we'll try to get into some questions for a few minutes. We're already over time. Those of you who are able to stay, thank you so much. Those of you who are not, we love you. Go with love and go into the rest of your day. And Liza, take it away.
Okay, so back to when I first was talking, I feel like very loving yourself is very important So I feel like learning love was when I learned to love myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, it was okay to be in a good partnership, but when my late husband passed away, let me just say I apologize for my camera off. I'm just charging my phone, so that's one. But yeah, learning love was loving myself, learning to love myself and heal my inner traumas. Um, and I feel like healing my inner traumas was also learning my boundaries and learning that I was a recovering people pleaser. So I will always like identify with people through my own trauma. Like I understand what they're going through. Like be very easy on people because and allow disrespect and allow certain things because I've been through it. I done that. You know what I'm saying? And that was not healthy at all. So I learned to boundaries was a big part, not to accept certain things, set standards for myself, what I'm willing to deal with and what I'm willing to tolerate from someone and what I'm not. You know what I'm saying? So that right there played a big factor in my boundaries. And I lost a lot of people because of that, but I'm absolutely fine with that because I found myself. That's the most important key of it all. You know what I'm saying? My advice for the young youth is stay true to yourself, be unapologetically yourself at all costs, and understand change is gonna be very fear. You're gonna feel fear with that, but it's okay. The more you evolve into different things and evolve into a better person, that's absolutely okay. You're not going to always be the same person. You're not going to be around the same people because you evolve and you're not in that element no more. So understand that, yeah, when you evolve, you're not going to be in the same environments that you once were or be around the same people you once were. And that's absolutely okay. It's no love lost, but that's just you growing as a person. And that's perfectly fine. That's it.
Thank you, Liza.
No
All right.
problem.
Before we transition into Q&A, we want to pause and name the importance of care in this space. Today's conversation touches on experiences that can be tender, complex, and activating. We invite everyone to take care of yourselves in whatever ways you may need. For our panelists, again, thank you for sharing only what feels safe and appropriate. Your boundaries matter. Continue to uphold them. As we move into audience questions, we ask that everyone help us to maintain a respectful environment. We do not tolerate hateful speech, harmful language, or comments that diminish lived experience. Questions should be asked with curiosity, care, and dignity. Our facilitation team will be present to gently support the conversation if anything becomes activating or needs redirecting. We have a space afterwards for our panelists where they can join and get support as well. And our shared goal today is to center dignity, care, and lived expertise while creating space for honest, meaningful dialogue. Now we are open to questions. Does anyone have any questions they'd like to drop in the chat? I know this has been a poppin' chat, y'all. This chat has been going crazy since the very beginning. Let me see if I can find some. Just a lot of, for the panelists who haven't been able to monitor the chat, there's been so much support and love for your vulnerability and you sharing your lived expertise today. And people are just really grateful for you showing up and being here today. And I'm sure they're also supportive of us continuing the conversation in whatever ways that may happen through Youth Voices Rising. Okay, and a lot of people, okay, so Kayla Hazlitt, as a CPS worker, what was the most impactful thing your past caseworkers did to empower you as a youth? Brittany?
Yes, thanks for that question, Kayla. I would say it wasn't necessarily a CPS worker or even a social worker, honestly, tended to have the worst of those, but upon aging out, I was lucky enough to be in a really good independent living skills program. And the case manager that I was assigned to then for like a little bit over a year, we got to know each other. And I'll always remember because she had a super unique name, but she just believed me. She connected with me. She also related to me as like women of color, and was open about that, like wasn't shying away from like, hey, we have these shared identities. Like, this is a safe space for specifically you and me, like, as like we share these intersections. And just that, like, human connection, answering questions, taking time. There would be times where like, I just was expressing that I was stressed about money, and she would just put in a request to have my utility bill paid or like whatever, and just like really showed up, put her money where her mouth was, like, was not skimping on the resources for me and was like, that really helped set me up for adulthood. Like those types of generosity really made the difference. So I would say, yeah.
I want to uplift that because for a lot of us, resources feel like love because we were so deprived and so neglected as kids and teenagers. And so, actually giving us things, paying our bills, helping us ease our lives in whatever capacity, that feels very much like love. And if done correctly and modeled correctly, it could help us to identify healthy love and when people show up for us. Maida, please go ahead.
Yes, so I wanted to share for the question about the CPS worker. I feel like your best bet is to learn the young person's love language. I feel like when I was in care, like I think kind of knowing and without knowing, my caseworkers knew that I was a girl of affirmations. And so I got that a lot. I also had like a lot of people like see things in me that I didn't see in myself. And even this might sound crazy, but even if we don't always see it yet, it is okay to speak those things over somebody, right? Because I think last night I actually experienced this where, I was in a room full of young adults, teens who, who are a little bit older, aging out of foster care, and no one is really seeing them past their behaviors right now. And it's really difficult because they're in that phase, that stage of like reacting back or misbehaving or getting smart or all those things because they're frustrated, right, with the system. And so no one's saying you can do this. No one is saying you got this. No one is saying like you're going to be great, you're going to be awesome, you're going to do great things. No one's saying that because they're just looking at their behavior. And literally when I was standing there yesterday, like there was a caseworker that almost was seconds away from basically yelling at everybody and like trying to put them in their place. And I was just like, now we're getting mad at the reaction, but we're not looking at the root cause of the issue, right? And so I think all that kind of ties back to just that idea of affirmations, even if we may not always see it right then and there, because when we constantly speak negativity over somebody, what's going to happen, right? I think we fail to realize the power of our tongue. And I'm a big believer that like what you put out there and what you speak out is what you get. And thankfully, I had a lot of people that spoke positivity in me, but they spoke positivity in me because I wasn't acting out. But can we do the same thing for those that are acting out and for everyone else so that they can learn and they can feel seen, heard, valued, and feel as though they can still be successful even though they're going through a rough patch right now? So to say that all to say that I think just finding out their love language. It might be acts of service. It might be like showing up with whatever resource that they were asking for might work, right? It could be giving them food. Like I've had my friends literally tell me, like, Mida, like we just get you food because we know you're gonna be good and happy. You know what I'm saying? So like it could be a snack. It could be their favorite snack. It could be taking them for a walk, quality time. Like you just never realize when you actually get to know that the difference it can make. Because then it's like now you're hearing me, and it's so little, so little.
Thank you, Maida. I'll remember the food thing next time I see you. Amaya, would you like to share?
Yes, both of the ladies that went before me said great things that I want to kind of piggyback off of. Um, I remember one caseworker specifically who came to my house, and this kind of seconds what Liza said in the aspect of like your parents coaching you to say things so that they can just go about their business at the end of whatever check in. Um, it's really about seeing the person that you're sitting in front of or across from. I can only imagine the workload that caseworkers have. I can only imagine the stress that they're under. But when you are in front of that one child is the only thing that you should be caring about. So, really seeing them and kind of looking past the facade that they put on, because that's something that we're trained to do as well through all of these experiences that we've lived, is to put on a facade and put on a mask because you have to keep going. And unfortunately, that is as young as it gets to as old as they get. Like, that is just something that I feel ends up becoming second nature. Um, this caseworker knew that something was going on and she pressed for more and more verbal prompting. Like, because there's times where you'll get in front of a child and they'll just be quiet. there's so many things running through their mind. I don't know what to tell you. I will have diarrhea of the mouth if I start talking. So, the verbal prompting, at least for me, has always helped. Ask me questions so I know where to dig deeper at so that I can give you the answers you need so that you can help me. Um, Fast forward to a social worker in high school. They had put me in as an independent student so I can do everything that I needed to for myself. They didn't need my parents or any type of guardian. She saw me and she saw me past my behaviors. And because I think on the last webinar we had, I expressed not that I'm proud of it, I'm not ashamed of it either, but I was a very angry, aggressive teenager. I was constantly getting into fights, verbal altercations with people. I was arguing with friends all the time. And anytime I went in her office, I felt like I can just sit back on her couch and breathe for the first time that day, that week, whatever. And no, she didn't judge me for the things that I put out into the world because she saw beyond that. She saw, like Maida was saying, the issue was bigger than how I was reacting to it. Everybody's going to react different. We have to dig deeper and figure out, okay, why is this child acting like this? And what can we do to, reinforce positive behavior? um so yeah, just remember that you're human. Take that badge off and be there with that child like they were your own. And yeah, just give them all the loving that they need.
Thank you so much, Amaya. I just want to highlight this again for the audience. The most difficult youth and children, the most difficult clients you have are often the most sensitive and the most reactive to the world around them. And so they need the most love. They need the most attention. They need the most patience. And it's not just a one and done kind of a situation. It's a reoccurring, unconditional love is very difficult, by the way, as a new mom to a toddler. I know. That unconditional love is really tricky, but that's what they need and that's what children require. And it's not a one and done situation. It has to start from the very beginning and last through the end. David and then Dr. Sky. And I will drop some of the other questions in the chat for our panelists if y'all want to address them, but we are running out of time. So go ahead.
Oh, so Ron Barnick, he was a pilot in the Air Force and he used my CASA. And so during the speeches that I do for nonprofits and the trainings that I do for caring adults, I really talk about Ron a lot because he saved my life. Literally, one person saved my life. And because he took a vested interest in me, because he showed up where I was, he was able to help me show up for thousands of others where they are. He taught me that we have to meet the kid where the kid is. We can't bring the kid where we are. And Ron was this skinny little nerdy guy with glasses, white dude, mentoring as my casa, this big, gang involved teenager that, I mean, I was hard. I was robbing people. I was bad. I was fighting all the time. And because of one person that took a vested interest in me, that like cared, that showed up where I was, didn't try to bring me where they are, I was able to change my entire life. Because of him, I joined the Air Force. Because of him, I started mentoring other youth. Because of him, I opened up the martial arts schools. Because of him, I opened up my nonprofit. I mentored thousands of youth because of one person. And so the title of my speech is You're All the One. And it's because we don't realize the profound effect we can have on people when we just show up. He would bring me to his house and he had this globe, and I would spin this globe around and just stop. And 70% of the time it would stop on Potter. But the other 35%, no, I'm kidding. The other 30%, it would stop somewhere. And I would ask him about that place. Hey, what's it like in Greece? Hey, what's it like in Egypt? Hey, what's it like in Korea? And that one globe and his experiences and the little trinkets he had around his house inspired me to join the Air Force, serve 24 years, travel the world. I'm in Brazil right now. I live in Greece. I travel every month for speaking. And I'm not boastfully saying that. I'm saying that because you, whoever is listening to this, can be that one inspiration in one person, not just youth in foster care, anyone, anyone's life, by just showing up. Not with a facade, not as a social worker, not as a CASA, not as a judge, but as another human being that has done some stuff, that has lived some life, that has accomplished some things that you just want to show someone. Just show someone. Show someone how you play the guitar. Show someone how you beat the drums. Show someone something, whatever you're passionate about, whatever you do, because you never know that one thing that's going to spark and multiply in someone's life. Never know.
Thank you, David. I want to
That's,
highlight really quickly too, because I'm sure your mentor wasn't supposed to take you to his house, but he did. And I'm
he
highlighting
was.
that.
Sorry, but he was back then. It was okay
He was
back then. And
allowed? Okay.
I was at a COMSA conference and they came to me after and they were like, we can't take kids now. We're like, what are you talking about? Like he would take me everywhere. He taught me how to use chopsticks. That one little thing, using chopsticks, but that instills confidence because I couldn't do it at the beginning. I sucked at the beginning. And then now I use chopsticks like I'm Chinese, Japanese. And it was because of him. And what that does, it instills confidence. It teaches you how to fail. It teaches you how to persevere, how to be resilient. Just eating with chopsticks. But he was calm. He taught me and he says, no, let's do it like this. No, let's do. And then he kept taking me to Chinese restaurants. Let's practice, Dave. Little things like that. Those are the things that matter. Those are the things that accumulate and compound over time. Sorry, I keep going.
No, it's
Obviously, I
okay.
speak for a living.
I just want to highlight for our audience that sometimes we have to get in that good trouble. We have to go against the protocol and the policies and the procedures to meet children and youth where they are and to connect with them and to help them feel love. Because now, as a teacher, as a social worker, you're not allowed to do things like that according to the book. But those are the most impactful parts of the experiences that I've had working with youth and young people, is going outside of that book, getting into that good trouble to reiterate late Congressman John Lewis, and letting kids know that we're going to show up and do things that are relevant to you. Okay, I can't bring food into my classroom. I snuck these talkies in just for y'all. Okay, so get them out while we're going to go over this literature review. All right. And so just that good trouble, making choices when you're going to step outside that box in honor of children and love. Go ahead, Dave. And
Can I just, yeah, I'll be quick. But so I agree with you, but guess what? We don't have to break the rules or even bend the rules in order to have impact. Guess what? He could, if he couldn't take me to his house back then, he could have brought those things out. He could have showed me what it's like to travel. He could have showed me, this is what I do. Even at speeches, I have on the projector my travels, me in different countries, different places, experiencing people. This is what I love to experience is people. And those little things can spark something, right? It wasn't that he took me to his house, it was what was in his house that sparked it. You can take it out your house. Jesus, it's not hard, right? Just saying.
all
Love
right,
y'all.
Dr. Sky, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap up this conversation.
Yeah, I'll try to be brief because I have a hard stop at 12:30 myself. But so much of what has already been said again resonates with me. Similar to, I think it was Amaya that mentioned, unfortunately, most of my social workers were horrible. I did not have many good experiences with social workers. However, the social worker that was the most impactful that I remember, what they did, what she did was believed me. She believed me. That sometimes is the most important thing you can do for any child that becomes impacted or involved in the child welfare system. Believe them. The thing about narcissistic abuse that's so insidious is that narcissists tend to be charming and captivating and charismatic. People love them. They don't think anything's wrong. So when social workers would come to the house, they wouldn't even listen to me. And I was a child of color too. My egg donor happens to be a white woman. And I do believe that racism impacted my case. I definitely believe that they refused to take me away for months because of racism. But I begged and pleaded, and every social worker looked at me and laughed. And they said, your mom is just overprotective and eccentric, but she loves you. And it's like, then why can't I go to the library to study for school? Why can't I see my dad? Why can't I go on a field trip? Why am I being slapped in the face for spilling juice on the floor? Like they didn't believe me. They said, you're fine, your mom's just overprotective and old school. That's all. So it was the social worker that actually believed me. She looked me in the eyes and she said, I hear you. I can see that whatever's happening in this home is toxic. I can see that you're begging for help. You do not feel safe. She's like, I believe you. And that was incredibly empowering to finally be heard. I had to retell my story every 2 to 3 weeks for 9 months. And constantly was dismissed, constantly was ignored, constantly was having my words twisted and minimized. It was the social worker that actually believed me and said, I'm going to get you out of here. I believe you. She actually got taken off my case and replaced by someone else. That person was the one who ended up getting me in foster care, but she put in a good word for me and she made sure that my case was, she advocated for me essentially. And so I'm so grateful for her. The next social worker called me a spoiled brat and said that I was lying and getting into foster care to be more spoiled. And I grew up so poor. I was never spoiled. I didn't have anything. I don't know what she was talking about. But she saw my home. She saw that it was clean. She saw that I had toys and clothes, which were bought for me by relatives and friends. No one in my immediate family purchased those things for me. But she saw that I had things and was like, oh, you're spoiled and you want to get into foster care to become more spoiled. That was so insulting. I begged and pleaded to be placed in foster care. I was grateful to be placed in foster care. And she tried to tell my foster mother that I was lying and that I would be placed back with my biological family. And that never happened because my biological mother didn't even go to court. She didn't, they wanted her to do therapy and parenting classes. She refused because she said, there's nothing wrong with me. I don't need parenting classes. I don't need therapy. I don't need counseling. Give that to people who need it because she was a narcissist. So the most important thing you can do is believe a child, believe a survivor. Don't negate them, don't dismiss them, don't ignore them, don't minimize what they're saying. Just believe them because children are most likely not going to lie about these things. If a child is begging you to get out, there's probably a good reason for it, even if you can't see it on the surface.
On that note, I am again just in honor and gratitude of you all. I'm so proud of you all. I'm really grateful that I get to share and facilitate space with you all and that you have trusted us time and time again to share your story, whether it be on webinars, whether it be on interviews, whether it be on op-eds. We are grateful for you. You are amazing. You are awesome. And we hope this is not the last time you come and share your stories with Youth Voices Rising. If you would like to get in touch with our panelists, their information is in the chat. We will be releasing a recording of this, so feel free to go ahead and review that and share it with others in your network. Check back often because we're going to be having more webinars throughout this year. And who knows, maybe this will be a series. Y'all seem to love it and want more. And so maybe we can give that to you. Okay, I'll go talk to the team and see what we can do about that. But again, thank you all. And panelists, if you want to join us in our safe recovery space, feel free to do so. Abigail sent you the link. Thank you all for tuning in to another Youth Voices Rising production, and we hope to see you back again real soon. Y'all have a
Thank you, Ivory. You're amazing.
thank you. You
You
too.
all are amazing. Have a great day.
Thank you guys. You guys are amazing.
Thank you.
All right.
Love you.